So we're all concerned about our credit. We want to do better with having a better credit score. Well, it's not that difficult. A lot of stuff is set into place. So all you have to do is pretty much follow the script that they give us. But what's the script? What exactly do we have to do to, increase our credit score? Well, I'm going to give you 5 proven ways to increase your credit score. These things actually work. So if your credit score is holding you back from a lower interest rate, better opportunities and peace of mind, then this video is going to help you. The good news is you don't need tricks or hacks. You just need a few simple habits done consistently. A lot of people think credit scores are complicated or rigged, but they're not. But they are predictable. Credit score on to patterns. And once you understand those patterns, raising your scores becomes much easier. So here are 5 practical ways to better your credit score. Keep your credit usage below 30%. This is one of the most important rules of credit and one of the most misunderstood. If you own or you have a credit card with a limit of $1,000, you will want to keep your balance below $300. And because you want to do this because the scoring system care more about the available balance than whether you're paying your credit on time. So your available balance is more important to them than whether or not you're paying on time. Even if you pay your bill monthly, using too much of your limit makes you too risky. So the system really prefers borrowers who can use credit, but don't need to use too much of it. Lower usage equals to higher credit scores. So basically, 30% is good, but even 10% is even better. The next thing you want to do is ask for a credit limit increase. Without spending the money, you want to ask for an increase on your credit, but not with the intentions of actually spending the money. This step might sound a little bit crazy or scary to some people, but actually it's one of the easiest ways to improve your score. When you increase your credit limit, but keep your spending the same, your usage percentage drops automatically. So it just makes sense that it would drop automatically if you now you have a larger line of credit, but your uses have not gone up. So we'll do an example. If you have a limit of 1,000 to 2,000 and your balance stays at $300, your usage drops from 30% to 15%. So you still have you use $300, so that's from 30%. But then if you increase it to 2,000, that's only 15% of the credit card that you're actually using, and that alone can raise your score. It's a pretty nifty trick, but it's not really a trick. But that's just the way the systems are. So most credit card companies let you request a limit, increase, which can be done over line, done online or in a telephone call. Now, you gotta keep in mind, this is not for you. This is not for somebody who is not very good with credit cards, in the first. So if they're not good at using credit cards, it's probably not a good idea for that person to do this, because they might be tempted and they may actually use that new newfound wealth to them, but it's just, it's still not your money. But they might use that credit card, and use more of it. So it's probably not a good idea for them. But if you're disciplined enough and you care about your credit enough, then you're going to say, you know what, I'm not going to spend that extra money. I'm just going to actually do this just for means of, getting a better credit score. So a high limit, is a tool and it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse just to go out here and just spend money. Number 3, don't pay the minimum. Aim for the statement balance. So the credit card company is going to say, $30 due this month. You don't want to do that. I mean, of course, if that's the only thing that you have, then yes, that's what you will pay. Preferably, always pay more than the 30%, the amount that they want you to pay. So if it's $30, at least try to pay $50. I mean, I'm just telling you, that's what works for me. My score isn't perfect. I'm an 803, so it's a pretty decent, credit score. But and that's been working for me. So try not to just pay the minimum balance, but pay more. But really what we want to do here is really aim for the statement balance, So the minimum payments are designed to keep you in debt longer. So you want to, try to, stray away from doing the minimum balance, but actually do a higher amount. So their idea, the credit card companies, is to protect the lender, it's not to protect you. So when possible, you want to pay the full statement balance each and every month, or at least 40% of that statement balance. That's gonna look very good on your credit. If you can't do that, like I said before, at least 2/3 of it. Probably a good idea. So paying more reduces the interest and it lowers your balance faster and improves your credit usage. And it also shows the systems. Again, we notice it's all just systems that's in place. This whole thing is automated, so there's nobody sitting up there, looking at the computer waiting for you to make your credit card payments and even care about you. That's not how it works. It's all systems. So the system, it also shows the system that you're managing credit responsibly and not struggling with it. So you want to do the minimum payments. If you minimum, you want to do more than the minimum payments. Again, like I said before, at least the minimum plus a significant amount on top of that, maybe 20% on top of that, 30% on top of that, that would actually help. But the minimum payments will keep you stuck. So strong payments, stronger payments and longer and larger payments will move you forward and will be better for your credit. And another thing you want to do is set up, just be number 4, you want to set up auto pay. Setting up auto pay will make sure that you're never late. It's to make sure that you're going to get your payments done, on time and everything. So payment history is the biggest part of your credit score. One payment can hurt you for years. One late payment can hurt you for years. That's as unfair as it may be, but that's the truth. You can pay just one time late and be like, man, now knock my score back or hold me back, because they just look at that. They look at you and say, well, this is not a responsible borrower. So you want to try to make your payments on time and everything. Auto pay is one of the smartest financial decisions that you can make. Again, you don't have to worry about it. Just set it into place and it just pulls it out. This ensures that you're not going to spend more than what you really have, because it needs to be taken care of first. If you have this money taken out of your checking account each and every month, automatically there's nothing really for you to do. But just let it, make sure the money is there. Of course, you work your job or your investments or your business, or whatever, and the money is there. So you want to you set it for at least the minimum payment, so that way you at least have the minimum payment in. If you set it for the minimum payment, But again, we want to pay more. So you can still pay extra manually, but auto pay is just a safer, safer net for you. Good credit isn't, about being perfect, but it is about being consistent. You want to be consistent with your payments. I think they see that more of anything. So you might be able to run in sometimes if the minimum payment is $30, but if you're consistently paying $30, they know that, or at least the systems know that you're paying the $30 at least. That's, of course, if you're spending more money, that balance will go up for the minimum too. So, number 5 would be pay off cards strategically. Start smart, or start with the small ones, and then build a momentum. If you have multiple cards, don't try to fix everything at once, because you can get overwhelmed by that and discouraged, but rather, just put a plan into place, and just follow consistently. Trying to run in there and pay everything off at once or whatever, it can lead to burnout. But instead, you want to focus on paying off at least 2 or 3 cards, at a time. And really start with the smallest balances. Start with the smallest ones first, which will actually build your confidence, in your ability to do this, because it can be done. Absolutely, positively can be done. But that positive reinforcement of seeing those balances disappear, that's a good thing. So it just encourages you to move on to the higher, the higher debt that you owe. When one card is paid off, move on to the next one. Just move on to the next card. So if you do this, your total debt will drop, your available credit increases, and your confidence will grow. Progress is what creates motivation, and motivation will keep you consistent. So again, raising credit scores isn't about tricks, but it is about, using less of your credit, increasing your limits responsibly. Again, we know responsibly meaning you're not going to go in there and use that money, but you're going to increase the limits with the ideal of actually using it to better your credit. That's what we're doing this for. You're going to pay off, you're paying more than the minimum. So we know about that. We definitely have to do paying more than minimum. You're not just going to pay this a small $30 or $50, whatever the minimum balance is. Pay more. You never miss the payments. We're going to never miss the payments, because we're going to set up auto pay and make it pay itself, every month. So those payments going to go out. And you're going to reduce the balances step by step. If you consistently do this, your score will increase. You will get a better score. And this can take probably, months or, a few months, and you begin to see your score go up and up, So this is, video about, bettering increasing your credit score, simple steps that you can do. Follow me for more videos about finances and money. Again, I'm not an expert by far. I'm learning this thing too. But I just know some few things or whatever, and I like to share with everyone else. And it's a good thing for me to have on here so I can actually look back too and use it as a reference for myself. So subscribe, like, subscribe to my channel, The Financial Edge for Me.